So now you're saying, well, what did Scarlett do when he retired? And I stepped down in 2005 as a CEO, and I left the company in 2007. And what am I going to do now? Well, a number of people came to me and said, hey, Joe, you've done such a good job with Tractor Supply University. How about doing the same kind of thing for the national business community? That sounded like a cool thing, and I chatted with my wife, and Dorothy said, well, Joe, we got married for better or worse, but not for lunch, so you better find something to do. So I worked, we were originally with Belmont, and Belmont people are just great. I worked together with 2 Belmont people, and we mapped things out, and then we figured out, well, how are we going to get this thing started? We contacted 50 CEOs of Middle Tennessee companies, and 35 of them got together with us. And we sat at a table with 3, 4, 5 of them at a time and spent hours talking about leadership. What do you need to develop your leaders today? What do you need to take your stars and turn them into superstars that you're not currently doing? So we want to supplement what you do. We don't want to replace what you do. And we started with some of the biggest companies in town. And we also talked to some smaller ones. And we walked away with a plan that's called the Signature Executive Program. And we're proud to tell you there have been several hundred graduates from that, all of whom are doing very well, most of whom have been promoted at least once since graduating from our program. And those CEOs simply, they set everything in motion. So we tell you what they told us. They said, what we need to develop is we need to develop the interpersonal skills of our upwardly mobile professionals. It's not about strategies, it's not about finances, it's not about processes. It's about interpersonal relationships. It's about leading people. And so we simply went to work. We listened to what they said. They said, we don't care how long it takes. We want to see real behavioral change. We want to see subject matter experts doing the teaching. We simply want to see people get better and get us involved. We want to help. So we created the program. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but I want to hit some highlights. It's 18 days over the course of a year. It's a 1-day orientation. It's a 1-week retreat. 6 2-day follow-up classes. The retreat is very intense. Some people leave the week there saying that this was a life-changing experience. We start off Monday morning, a half a day on work-life balance. And you're going to say, well, don't the CEOs want workaholics? The answer is no. CEOs want executives who are well-balanced, who can delegate responsibility, who can take charge of their personal life and their business life. We have a professional from Canyon Ranch that spends 4 hours on that. We do a personality profile, or psychological profile in the afternoon, the disc profile. We have a couple of professionals that come in either from Atlanta or New York. Day number 2 is the frightening day. We do public speaking that day, and we spend the morning, the early part of the morning, working on how to craft a message, and then about 11 o'clock, 2 videographers show up, and each of the students has to stand up and deliver a 5-minute talk in front of a video camera, which is terrifying. But they take their disc and they go sit with a counselor, and the counselor goes through it with them and talks to them about how to do it. And then they get a little more confident, and they go back and deliver a second speech, and they go through it again. And throughout our program, we will do various and sundry public speaking. And everybody will finish our program, no matter how good or bad you were when you started, you will come out a much better public speaker than when you went in. Day number 3 is on difficult conversations. We have a couple of folks that come down from Cambridge, one of whom is the author of a book called Difficult Conversations, and they spend the whole day walking through how to get to the heart of the matter. Now, we all want hope that Joe Schmo over here's performance is going to get better if I just give him a few good ideas. But the fact of the matter is, when we have a performance problem, we really need to address it. And the sooner we address it, and the more factually we address it, the more likely you are to get improvement. So we spend this whole day on how to get to the heart of difficult conversations and do it with the least amount of emotion and the most effective results. And I will tell you, as a seasoned executive, I wish I'd taken that course 30 years ago, because I would have done some things much more proactively, much more effectively. Day number 4, we have Marshall Goldsmith, world-renowned executive coach and author, tremendously inspirational, all about leadership. And then for those of us that need some remedial training, we have a woman who comes in who used to be the Chief Protocol Officer for Bank of America, and she spends 5 hours with us in the evening about how to dress in business and how women should conduct themselves differently or the same as men, and how to work a cocktail party and get rid of people who are talking you to death, which, by the way, is worth the price of admission by itself. And then we sit down for one of these complicated dinners with 5 knives and 6 forks, and and walk through all these social skills. And I grew up in a family with 2 white-collar parents, and I thought, well, I know all this stuff. I didn't know this is going to be new to me, but a good third of what she talked about gave me some tips on how to better conduct myself. So anyway, it's a great, very intense week, and I won't go through the 6 follow-up sessions with you in detail, but the 6 follow-up sessions are really accountability sessions where each one of the students stands up and talks about, here's how I've improved as a leader since the last time we were together. And we see just tremendous improvement. In any case, that's the signature program. That's what we're best known for. We also do one at a much lower level, which there's a brochure on your table there, and the class is going to start in 2 weeks, by the way. And that's for emerging leaders. That's an 8-day class of similar topics, but taught at a level for people who are moving into serious leadership roles for the first time. So anyway, that's what keeps me busy today, and a group of other people, and we're learning centers down in Cool Springs, and I think our address is probably there. And we ask you, if you ever want to stop by, just stop in and say hello. One final editorial note about leadership education. We're passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. It's one of the key factors in Tractor Supply's success, and it's a key factor in the success of virtually every business in America. And what's sort of disheartening to me is when we hear companies say, well, we're going down, times are tough, we can't afford to develop our leaders. Well, my comment back to you is you can't afford not to develop your leaders. You put other things aside. The Tractor Supply Company, we never postponed any of the leadership education. We would postpone new stores, distribution centers, new computer programs, but never postpone developing our people. And the other thing we hear is, oh, we're too busy. We can't afford to send somebody because we're too busy to send somebody to leadership education. Well, you're too busy because you're not leading things very well. If you were better leaders and better organized and delegating responsibility, you wouldn't be working so damn hard. So, in any case, that's my editorial comment. Leadership education is one of the really big keys to Tractor Supply's success, and we continue to learn about leadership throughout our lives. So, with that, I've been talking long enough here. I want to say that I wish every one of you a wild and crazy, successful business career. Thanks a lot.